All right, so for this next one, we're looking at these four stress questions. And so we need to actually look at them in the survey or in your appendix, wherever you have this information. If you have numbers already, you don't need to do this. So you'll just need to look at a different video if you have reverse scored values, or you can do it in Jamovi if you want to. And so if you have letters, though, if you have characters or words, whatever, you have to transform them to be a number so that Jamovi can recognize them as having an order. And so we have this stress questionnaire. The first question is, in last month, how often have you felt that you were unable to control the important things in your life? So never, almost never, sometimes very fairly often, and very often. If they say never to how often have you felt you were unable to control important things, which would be amazing, right? That means low stress, right? So that value, according to the scale, should be a 1. And then almost never would get a 2. Sometimes we get a 3. Fairly often we get a 4. Very often we get a 5 because that represents the highest amount of stress. So this is a Likert-type scale where lowest is the lowest amount of that variable. So that's what we want to aim for. Our next question, though, in the last month, how often have you felt confident about your ability to handle your personal problems? If they say never, they never feel confident, that's high stress. So then this never would need to be a 5, almost never would be a 4, sometimes would be a 3, fairly often is a 2, very often is a 1. Same thing for this one. This is also going to be reverse scored. If they say never to how often have you felt that things are going your way, that's high stress. So that's going to be a 5 here. And then our last question, in the last month, how often have you felt difficulties were piling up so high that you could not overcome them? If they say never, then never is low stress in this example. So we're going to keep this the way it is. So I'm going to go back up here, and then I'm going to go to my questions. And so you can just highlight all of these together. So I'm going to click and hold, drag, and highlight all of those 4 questions. And I'm going to click I'm going to right click, and I'm going to insert 4 columns right. And so these are going to become my stress questions. So I'm going to do stress 1, and I'm going to drag those over there. So we'll say stress 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want to use a logical expression to check here. And I'm going to put the response here. So I want stress 1 raw to equal stress 1. So I'm going to say equals if, and we're going to do that nested if statement. So if N2 equals, and I'm going to go from 1 to 5. You can go 5 to 1 if you want to. Don't go like 2, 4, 3, 5. That'll just drive you crazy. So go in some order that makes sense to you. But I'm going to say if N2 equals, and then I'm going to go to never. I'm going to go from 1 to 5. So never should be a 1 here. So never unable to control the important things in life. That's going to be a 1. You should already have this in your appendix that you put together. But I'm just going to copy and paste. You can also type it in. So my first if statement is that if N2 equals never, I want it to equal 1. And you don't put parentheses around it because it's a number. And so then that would be a 1 there. Now I'm going to do another comma, and I'm going to do a new if statement that's nested. So I'm right after that 1, a comma, and then if. I'm going to click on the same cell, and I'm going to say equals. And then this time, I want it to be the next option, which is almost never. And I'm going to put that with quotations around it so it's recognized as character format. And then if it's almost never, I'm going to have it say 2. I'll do another comma, another nested if statement, same cell. So I'm going to say N2. I can just type it in, equals. And our next option is sometimes. And then if they do have sometimes there, then I would put a 3. My next if statement, I'm going to do the same thing. So if N2 equals, and this time it is fairly often, I'm going to do a comma, that's going to be a 4. And then another comma. Oh, and I missed my quotation. There we go. Oh, and look at that. See how it's like, hey, it's a 4. It's telling you that it matches. That's good. That means you're doing it right. Thanks, Google AI. You're not creepy at all. And then we're going to do our last one. And unfortunately, it's disappearing. There we go. So if, and then parentheses, n2 equals, and my last one is, I think, very often. Yep, there it is, very often. Yep, very often. So very often. And then if they selected very often, they get a 5. And then you're going to do a comma after that. And if they don't have any of those, you want to leave it blank. That's very important. And so I'm just going to use double quotations to tell the program to leave it blank. And then I'm going to end with the same number of, notice how they became darker. I'm closing with the same number of opening quotations. So I have 1, 2, or opening parentheses, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need 5 closing parentheses. And then if I press enter, we can go ahead and accept the autofill. Again, check it to make sure. So I'm going to look through. Oh, look at that. We have a missing one. It shows up as missing. That's good because we don't want to create a score when we don't have a value there. A couple more missing ones. Some missing, but it went all the way down. So that's good. And then it's just good to check. So fairly often should be 4. Never should be 1. 2 should be almost never. That looks good. Excellent. Now the next one, you have the benefit of not having to do that reverse scoring that I showed in class because you're just going to do it right here. You're going to take this, basically the same thing, you're going to change it a little bit. Now I'm going to copy this. You could also just type it out if you want to, but I'm going to copy and paste. And what this will do is it's moving to the right. So you can see that in this one, we were referring to N2, which is right here. Here, it's looking at O2, which is this one right here. So 2 is now matched up with 2, but this is reverse scored. So we need to switch the numbers. If you would rather just type it all out again, that's totally fine. But one quick way to replicate this formula is just go up here and say, okay, this is reverse. So never is going to be 5. Almost never is going to be 4. 3 is going to stay 3. 4 is going to switch to 2. And then 5 is going to become 1. And then press enter and autofill. So fairly often should no longer be a 4, it should be a 2, right? So that's how you would do the reverse scored ones. Now I can just copy this. So for the reverse scoring, I can copy and I can paste here. And I just want to double check that it's referring to the right column. So stress 3 should be referring to stress 3, which is column P. So if I look here, this is doing P, perfect, and it's still reverse scored. And I can just double click on the bottom there and it's going to fill in the rest of the responses, just like we want it to. And then stress 4 is scored the normal way. So I'm going to copy this, Command C or Control C. I'm going to go to stress 4, I'm going to paste. So again, I'm looking at the 4th stress item, which is in column Q. So I want to check that this is referring to Q, which it is, and it's going the correct direction. So never is 1, almost never is 2. All of that is correct. I'm going to double click, and there you go. I'm going to have you create the total scores in Jamovi, so don't worry about that here unless you want to. You could just do a sum, but I'll just have you do it in Jamovi so you can see how it works there. Now, the next video, you do the same thing for this depression scoring or whatever your second variable is if you have another one that's Likert-Type scale. The next video, I'm just going to show you how to reverse score in the event that it wasn't already reverse scored. Or in case you already had numbers there, you don't have to go through this process, but you'll have to do some reverse scoring of your numbered variables. So this is how you do, again, if you have words that you need to transform to numbers, and it includes how to reverse score your questions.